In this video here, we are going to talk about the biggest rivals in football. I mean the most intense and harsh rivals when it comes to world football. So we start with the biggest and the most famous rivalry, that is between Barcelona and Real Madrid, which is known as the iconic El Clasico. Of course, this one here is not just a football match, it's also a match that is between an identity versus central power. Then we go to Argentina, that is between Boca Juniors and River Plate, which is known as the Super Clasico. This one here is also another great match. When they play, there's always high intensity in the stadium. Then we go to Scotland also, and there's also another great rivalry there, that is between Rangers and Celtic, which is known as the Old Firm. Of course, we come to England, which is one of the most famous and the most historic rivalry, that is between Manchester United and Liverpool, which is known as the Northwest Derby. Of course, still in Europe, now we go to Italy. Also, there's also another intense match there whenever they play, because of the history that is shared between them. That is AC Milan versus Inter Milan, known as the Derby della Madonna. Of course, we go to France. There's also another iconic one there, that is between Paris Saint-Germain versus Marseille, known as the Le Classique. Of course, we come to Germany, that is between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. This one is also another intense one, that is known as the Klassiker. Of course, we take Germany also, that is between Schalke 04 versus Borussia Dortmund, known as the River Derby. Of course, now we go to Greece. Also, there's another iconic rivalry there, that is between Olympiacos and Panathinaikos, known as the Derby of Eternal Enemy. And of course, we go to Turkey. This one is known as the Intercontinental Derby, one of the most intense matches in Europe, that is between Fenerbahce versus Galatasaray. Of course, we go to England. This one is also another most iconic one, that is between Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspur, that is the North London Derby. Of course, we have the Manchester Derby, that is between Manchester United and Manchester City. These two teams here share so much of great history and great history of rivalry, which is so intense. Then we have Liverpool versus Everton, that is the Merseyside Derby. Even though Liverpool are the stronger ones, Everton appears to be weaker, but whenever they play, there's always high intensity in the stadium because of the rich history that both teams share. Of course, we go to Holland, that is between Ajax and Feyenoord, known as the Klassiker. Of course, we come to Italy, that is known as the Rome Derby, that is between AS Roma and Lazio. Of course, this one here is also another great one, but it is in South America, that is between Flamengo and Fluminense, known as the Fla-Flu Derby, that is in Brazil. We have Croatians versus Palmeiras, that is known as the Paulista Derby. It's also another intense one. In Africa, we have one of the most iconic, that is between Al Hilal versus Zamalek, known as the Cairo Derby, that is in Egypt. Then, of course, we have these rivals again from Morocco, known as the Raja Casablanca and the Wydad Casablanca, known as the Casablanca Derby. Of course, we go to South Africa. This one is also another intense one, that is between Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, known as the Soweto Derby. Of course, these are the most intense and harsh rivalries in football history. I know there are others, but these are the main ones. These are the most famous ones.